Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm excited to be joined by Alyse Sue, the co-founder of Transhuman Coin and a panelist in our Emerging Digital Asset Trends panel session. Alyse, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Now, Alyse, as a software engineer and startup founder with a focus on transhumanism, can you explain how blockchain and AI intersect with your vision for transcending human biological limitations?
I believe AI is one of the most important and fundamental technologies out there. Without AI, we won't be able to achieve our greatest goals. For transhumanism, it's about achieving three pillars. So the first is achieving super intelligence, and then super longevity and super well-being. So arguably, you probably need super intelligence first so that you use that as a tool to enable the other things. And I think we're getting there. So many years ago, when I started Transhumanism Australia, which is another Australian-based community that I run, it was really about finding a community of people who were interested in things like artificial general intelligence, brain-computer interfaces, and many other related technologies. But now everybody's working on or making their mission to achieve artificial general intelligence. You've got OpenAI, you've got Anthropic, you've got I guess Singularity Net is another one, which is decentralized AI, and they spoke at the panel today. Right. So it is exciting to think about all the people who are now investing a lot of resources, that includes their time and their money, into achieving AGI, short for artificial general intelligence. So I believe that in order to achieve transhumanism's lofty goals, which is to overcome limitations of human biology in general, we really need to have advanced AI. So these things will allow us to find, say, the therapy for living longer, healthier lives. So the crux of it is we are living longer, especially if we're both women. Our average lifespan is going to be about, I think it's reaching 90 right now. But a lot of the times you're not healthy until the end. You're probably sick from 80 to 90. Now that isn't really the life that you want when you're living longer, but not necessarily healthier. So we do need some more advanced tools to enable us to find the therapies, or maybe not even a therapy, because therapy is usually, you use that when you're already sick. You want to use something when you're still healthy, and which will allow us to reverse aging, maybe stop aging, or just to stave off some of those three biggest killers that humanity faces: cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Maybe if we just fix or find a cure for those, then that's it. We've pretty much solved some of the biggest challenges that humanity faces right now. Now, I've addressed the AI part of things. Blockchain, how that plays a part is, well, in a world where you have a lot of AI agents which are operating things, you might need an element of trust, and blockchain, being a database of sorts, enables us to do that. So we can understand what the provenance is. So let's just say there was a discovery, an AI-based discovery, and we want to be able to attribute it correctly to someone. Then blockchain enables us to do that because it tracks and traces where the origination of the idea or the research came from. So both are incredibly important to the future of humanity.
Absolutely. Very well said, Alyse. Now, Transhuman Coin supports projects like autonomous wheelchairs and brain-computer interfaces. So what other exciting projects in this space do you see as having the potential to revolutionize human capabilities?
Humanoid robots. I don't know if you've seen the latest from some of the Chinese companies. One of them is Unitree.
Yeah.
So they make these robots which are as capable as the US ones by Boston Dynamics. So it can jump over things. It can, perform acrobatics. And
wow, wonderful.
That's probably not very useful when you hear about that. Who needs a robot who does that?
Yeah, correct.
But you want a robot who is able to perform the dangerous, dirty work that humans shouldn't do, or they don't want to do. So the factory work or working in the mines, and where you need some way where they've got they're dexterous, maybe they've got maneuverability, and that's what humanoid robots enable us, or allow that extra capability that existing robot models don't offer. Now, When it comes to the whole, I suppose a lot of people like to pitch the US against China in terms of what are the developments in AI and technology. Now, I like to say why humanoid robots are fundamentally important to the future of humanity, as you pointed out, as are BCI, is that it will enable humanity to decouple our living from our job. So right now, our ability to live is closely tied to the income that we get from our jobs. And humanoid robots will perform, in my opinion, up to 80% of the tasks and perhaps the jobs that humans perform today. And it doesn't mean that there won't be anything to do for humans. We always find something to do. We just find other ways to spend our time, but we don't have to do things that we don't want to do. So humanoid robots and AI are the technologies that we should keep our eyes on. And then you also mentioned brain-computer interfaces.
Yeah.
So I think eventually we will probably have the capability to use BCIs to upload our minds to a computer, and then maybe we'll upload our consciousness into a humanoid robot. So we don't have to stay in these protein-based bodies.
Wow, very interesting indeed, Alyse. I'm totally lost into that. Now, I understand you were formerly the director of Metaverse at KPMG. So how do you see the Metaverse evolving, and what role do you think that it will play in the future of business and human interaction?
I believe the future metaverse is inside our heads. So the metaverse, a lot of people like to think of it as a 3D based world, maybe just a more immersive internet. The internet right now, the way we experience it is totally flat. It's 2D. So even the next iteration is just moving to 3D. But if you want full immersion, then you're probably likely looking at how can you change our user interface. So our user interfaces right now are the tablet, like you've got our mobiles, desktop, but you're still looking at a screen. And then we moved on to the headsets and the glasses. Slightly better, but what is the ultimate immersion? Right inside your head. So that's where brain-computer interface technology can allow this to happen. So where you can not only wear a device which can read the neural activity in your brain, but also be able to download thoughts into your brain. So just imagine being able to simulate things right inside your head, in your mind. And to me, that is the ultimate metaverse.
Yeah.
So people always say the metaverse is really good for, say, training or education. That's one of the first use cases. And equally, you can apply that to when you've got the metaverse right inside your head. I do want to talk about the form factor. So when it comes to being able to have the metaverse in your head, you need devices. So whether they're going to be ones that you implant in your head or maybe you just wear on top, I believe it will be a combination. You might get an implant, such as the ones that Neuralink makes. So the Neuralink implants they're very tiny. The N1 chip is about the size of a coin, and then off the chip comes these threads, and the threads are really thin. They're thinner than your hair. So it's not very invasive. I mean, yes, they have to drill a hole in your head, but still, it's compared to other similar BCI technology, quite non-invasive. So I believe that, yes, we will have something like that in the future. It's currently being trialed in those who have a disability, but in the future, I can imagine that it will be offered to any healthy person who just wants to extend their capabilities, their intelligence, their memory. And with that, and this is just my early thoughts, with that, the implant we have, I believe you will be able to plug, say, an extra battery source or something to it on the outside, because you want to be able to extend the hardware. So whether it's battery, whether it's storage, whether it's bandwidth, because once you've got it inside you, you don't want to be carving yourself up, just upgrade the technology. And so that is my answer for what is the metaverse. It is going to be here, and it will make us smarter, more intelligent, and extend and increase our memory capacity.
Wow, very interesting indeed, Alyse. Now, based on your experience in tech, which industries do you see as being most impacted by AI?
Education and healthcare. both of those industries have remained relatively the same for the last 100 years. And when it's so old, it does have the Lindy effect. So Nassim Taleb, one of the famous authors of best-selling books, writes about the Lindy effect, which is if it's been around for 100 years, it's likely to be around for 100 longer. So I do believe that, yes, there is a place for the institutions that we have now. However, it doesn't really serve our needs as society changes.
Right.
Because of the impacts of AI or other types of technologies. And people are complaining incessantly about how broken the education or the healthcare sector is. So when you have a lot of people who have a lot of annoyances and grievances with these industries, that's when you have these disruptors coming in. And we're already seeing this. We're seeing a lot of startups which are playing in these two industries, as well as even the schools disrupting themselves. So across a lot of the schools in New South Wales, they've adopted, I believe, a product called EduChat, which they've created themselves. So it's enabling school children to access an AI assistant, you could call it a personal tutor, so that they can enhance their own education in public schools.
Wow, very interesting again. Now, as someone who's deeply involved in both the technical and entrepreneurial sides of emerging technologies, what advice would you give to aspiring founders in Web3 and AI?
Stick to AI. I believe you should always go where it's most impactful and where the puck is. So if you were going to spend or think about spending at least a good 5 to 10 years of your life somewhere, do it in an area which is experiencing exponential growth and also which has 100x impact. And that is why I say do AI. Web3 is an interesting area. However, in many cases, it's just an enabler. So I would also think about, do you really want to be a founder? Because you're going to be experiencing a lot of highs and lows. And so it's very rewarding, but at the same time, there are a lot of things to consider about, are you willing to sacrifice many things to be a founder in this area?
Absolutely. Very well said. And because I work closely with our founder, Steve at Wholesale Investor, I know that it's not easy being in this startup ecosystem. Like you said, there are many ups and downs, and you just have to really be that focused to stay on that path. So thanks for that advice. Now, as we wrap up this interview, I would love to get your thoughts on this event. So reflecting on your experience being here today at the Digital Assets event, it would be great if you could share with our audience how's the day been for you?
It's really well organized event, really great content, great speakers, great team. And I really just want to thank you for having me.
Oh, it is our pleasure. And thank you so much for being part of this event. And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining me in this interview. Hope you found it as insightful as I did. And thank you so much again, Alyse, for sharing your insights.
Thanks, Rhythm.